Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I hope you're having an amazing week so far. I am here with the one and only Dr. Shefali Tsabary.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again. And I'm so happy to be here with you and your audience.
It's been a while since we last connected. I first saw you, this was at Summit of Greatness in 2018.
Okay.
And you took the stage, and I was so impacted by your message. I ended up that night buying a ticket to go to Evolve, which
Wow.
is your annual live event. And since I've done several of your online courses, I've done Year of Awakened Heart, I've done Year of Manifestation, Free to Be, which was my favorite by far. And what really struck me about this book, and which felt very different to me, it was very personal. It was a very personal, vulnerable share. I wanted to share a quote. This actually isn't from the book, but to me, it kind of captures the story that you share in the book. And you say, I am constantly confronted by people's inability to speak their truth in relationships. It's always our closest relationships that bind us. Why? We are conditioned to live with masks and costumes of inauthenticity. It happened in our childhoods, and we carry it out in our adult relationships, which become replicas of the same inauthenticity we experienced in our earliest years. And so I'm curious if you can share with the group, what were some of the truths that you weren't speaking in your marriage, and what were some of the masks you were wearing?
Yeah, so we're talking about my book, A Radical Awakening. And if people want to take, I'm doing a course starting in a few days, and they can go to radicalawakening.com and buy the book or the course. If they buy the course, they get 3 books included and a big discount on another course. So, Radical Awakening, thank you for having me on to discuss the book.
Yes.
So a big part of my mask was that, being raised in India, which is not. I thought it was so different than the rest of the world, but I then find out that many of us women are raised with the archetype of the pleaser, the good girl, the one who lets everyone else do everything before them, puts themselves at the back, below, underneath, dims themselves. So that's what I wore. It wasn't my ex-husband's fault. I did that to myself. And I needed to see that because then I was all burnt out, exhausted, fatigued, resentful. And this is what I talk about in the book. The first awakening we have is to understand that our culture has been filled with toxic lies that we have ingested. But the radical awakening is really to see how we've co-created that oppression. So I take full ownership of my dynamics now and how I set them up to be duped, to be betrayed, to be violated. I do that. And this is the big battle cry of this book, the big wake up call, that how are you setting up your dynamics? And I show in this book the patterns that we typically set up. So this book is really a pathway from fear to liberation. And I show you the pathway. I don't just tell you to liberate yourself. I walk you by the hand and take you down a process.
I think what struck me so profoundly is this journey that you write about in the book was a pretty recent journey. So it was after, the year-long Year of Awakened Heart course, the Year of Manifestation, you'd been on Oprah, you did the Free to Be course. And I think what was so profound for me is even for yourself, like living these messages that you talk about is really hard because of cultural conditioning.
Oh, yeah. So that's why I came out in this book, because I want to show people that even though I've been meditating since I was 21, you go through layers of evolution. And just because I was a teacher and just because I'm this wisdom person, a psychologist, doesn't mean I don't have my own layers to unpeel. I had just not finished all of it. I was a work in progress. And you have to see your life. This is not about blind reactivity, leaving this one, leaving that one. This is not about leaving. This is about reclaiming and refinding your inner authentic self. The real marriage to someone that you negated your whole life. And so it's a love story, really. And it's a wake up call to begin to enter our greatest sovereign power.
Yeah. Is there something about marriage in particular and divorce in particular that made the awakening process particularly hard in that area of your life?
Well, of course, because we women are taught that we have to keep the family together and we have to do everything for everybody else and we should sacrifice our happiness for everyone. And of course, it was traumatic to consider breaking a system that had been in place for 25 years. And, it's never easy to change, period. Never easy to change when there's a child involved. And then culture has put so many stereotypes on us that a good marriage is one that lasts forever. And, the gold and the silver anniversaries get the precious jewels and the other ones get like the wood and the pebbles, because you stay forever. It doesn't matter the quality, it's the quantity. So when you have that deep conditioning, it's really hard, and people look at divorce as a failure. And I have come to see it as, if done consciously, if done holistically, if done therapeutically, even if nobody else does it the same way, but you do it that way, it is the greatest breakthrough. I mean, I've never met a divorced person who regrets it. It's a breakthrough. It's a final end of a cycle, and it's a completion. An emergence. I mean, I can't tell you how many lessons I learned about how wrong culture was about this whole marriage and divorce, and I write about it. I also write about the myths around love and our myths around beauty and youth and niceness. We've been so lied to that these have been chains binding us, and we don't realize that we've been lied to by chains, just or chained by lies. And we need to break free. And the only way to break free is through our own brilliant deconstruction, which I offer in this book. I think the book offers many brilliant deconstructions to help women, in particular, to see that these are chains that they have been enslaved by and they don't need that anymore.
Yeah. In the book, you talk about the triple threat most women are trained in starting in girlhood: approval, validation, and praise. And you write, women are conditioned to receive love through self-sacrifice. It doesn't surprise me when women share they're in a relationship that is destroying the last shard of who they once were. This is where I think it gets really profound. Their relationship isn't where the destruction of their authentic self once began. The relationship is just evidence of the final collapse of an already shattered inner world. No one loses themselves to another. They come to the other already lost. Can you share what you mean by this?
Yeah, so in our typical romantic, movie scenario, it's like one is a bad person, one is a good person, and somebody's evil and they did something to us. All that is complete bullshit. It's a fantasy. And sorry, even though we like to seek refuge in the fact that we have been victimized, in relationships, in intimate relationships, we really come um, to the dynamic with certain holes, wounds that, if we don't take care of and heal, will replay themselves in the relationship. And then we wonder how come we're again abused. We came in with the hole, so there's no option but to be abused because we've not healed. So, it's set up for that. So, for example, I have this archetype that I talk about in the book of being a savior, and I set up my dynamics to save the other, even if the other one doesn't ask. Like, so if Leah says to me, oh, I just have a sore throat, I'll go and make you dinner for a week. And then I'll be all tired and resentful when you don't do the same for me.
Yep.
You didn't even ask me, but because I'm in my archetype mode, I'm enacting these patterns. And this is how we do it. An anxious person is going to be anxious no matter what. But when her kid is anxious, then she blamed the kid for being anxious. No, you were anxious already. So it's these patterns that we replay that we are completely oblivious to because we're not self-conscious, we're not self-aware, we're not looking at ourselves, asking, why am I doing this? Why am I thinking this? How did I behave? We don't have the spotlight on us. We have the spotlight on everyone else.
Yeah. And you talk about in the book how women in particular tend to hold on to these roles like the fixer or the rescuer or the giver, and other cultural concepts that really chip away at their essence and their authenticity. Why do you think it is that women, even maybe more so than men, hold on to these roles, even when it's clear that they're not doing them service?
Because many of these roles get us accolades. The giver, the savior, I got so much praise. Oh, you're so lovely. You're so beautiful. Thank you. And then I began collecting broken birds more and more around me so I could save them, right?
Yeah.
I got a lot of praise. So I was like so happy. So culture supports the giver, supports the nurturer, supports the quiet one. That's why we stay in it, because we get praised for it. When we step out of that role and become the rabble rousers, we get called the bitch. So we stay away from that. You see, it's all through nice reward and punishment. We are being shaped by our culture.
Yeah. You have another quote. I think this is so I started my Instagram account like really late. I was behind the curve. I think that this was actually the very first thing I ever posted on Instagram. And it was from Evolve. And you said, society gives us a list of what we need to be happy. The matrix is the ego game we're all forced to play and compete in. We blindly believe in the game. And when we're unhappy, we think it's because we didn't play it well enough. We all walk around suited up in armor to protect ourselves. And it's only when we face an obstacle big enough to cause benevolent pain to crack us open that we have a portal for transformation and the questioning of our deep false identities. If and only if, rather than running from and distracting ourselves from the pain, we look, discover, and demystify it. And I thought that this quote hit so well on this idea of spiritual timing, which you talk about in your book. You say, we move forward only when our inner awareness finds a match in the outer world. Can you share what you mean by that our inner awareness finds a match in the outer world? And can you talk also a bit about the role of pain in helping with spiritual timing?
So the first part is, if something is not familiar to us in our subconscious, we won't stick to it. So if we're in a dynamic where we're allowing ourselves to be a certain way, say we're allowing ourselves to be stepped on or violated or silenced, it's because that's familiar to us. You know, it's like when you're in a market and everyone's speaking a different language, you will hear your language. So if inner criticism and shame is your inner language, you're going to hear that and it's familiar and you stick to it. If you are speaking worth and somebody is speaking shame to you, those are two different languages. You won't even recognize. You'll be like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
You're talking to me. Like, you're talking shame to me. So now I see myself completely distanced from words of shame. But before, oh, I was like, really? You think that's me? Tell me how I can change, because I didn't know myself. So I was willing to prostitute myself to shame. But now I go, whoa, you know, who are you? Like, I don't even know who they're talking to, because it's not familiar to me anymore. I don't have inner shame anymore. I don't have inner doubt anymore. I so know who I am that only I can hear the language of worth. If you're not treating me worthy, I can't hear you, you know? So this is how you shift out and you move out into a new realm of experiences. And in terms of pain, the reason why pain is such a portal is because pain is when the masks fall apart. When the masks and the disguises, the pleading and the pleasing no longer work. So when that falls apart, that's when there's light that can enter, a space that gets created where the ego is like, it's not working anymore. So now we have a way for, like, the therapist or the healing to come in.
Yeah. You say, when we realize that both the problem and the solution lie within ourselves, the process of change can begin. When we see ourselves as our own enslaver, we create a path towards liberation. Full emancipation first begins in our minds, independent of the other. How can someone subjugate us on the outside if we don't allow it somewhere on the inside? Dominance by men requires submission by women. We co-create the forces that keep these dynamics strong. I first learned about co-creation from you. Can you unpack that quote a little bit and also share what you mean by co-creation?
Sure. So that means, we women get upset or we feel like victims, and many of us are victims of physical abuse, but I'm talking about mental abuse. Mental abuse is really co-created. So physical, I give it to you. You can't do anything about it. You're a victim. You should speak up. You should get help. But mental abuse is co-created because we're staying in a dynamic that is unhealthy for us, and we're not leaving. So instead of blaming the dominant, we need to blame why ourselves, not blame, but take responsibility for why we are submissive. There's no dominance without submission. And that's how you change your life. So co-creation is asking, how did I uphold the dynamic? What behaviors in me kept the equation alive? They did them. And yeah, they could be assholes, they could be jerks, they could be cheaters. What? Okay, got it. Okay. And then I say, well, what did you do to uphold the dynamic? And they're like, well, I turned the other cheek. I didn't say anything. I forgave. I didn't move out. I was scared. Okay. Then you can't blame the other person because you are part of the dynamic. And listen, I'm making it sound easy. It's not. Because many women who have children, they can't leave. But then I teach them how to be emotionally boundaried and, distance from the perpetrator so it's not infiltrating their consciousness. But when we recognize our part in the dynamic, what is our part, and extricate, then the other person just falls down, right? Because there's no one to play with. And that's co-creation. And that's where we take our power back.
One of my favorite examples of co-creation is how you describe the empath and the narcissist dynamic. And you say both the empath and the narcissist come to each other from a place of lack. The narcissist feeds his or her inner wound through receiving excess attention, and the empath feeds his or her inner wound by overgiving without boundaries. The empath is often seen as the victim and often views themselves as the victim, but they need the narcissist because that's where they get their sense of worth and purpose, through overgiving. It's a codependent dynamic.
Yeah. Did I say that in this book or in Free to Be?
I think in Free to Be.
And that's good. Yeah. So it's how we get our love and worth, right? So if we get our love and worth from being needed, then who better to have around us than the biggest taker, the narcissist?
Yeah.
So don't blame the narcissist. Stop giving. In this book I write about, in my life, because I'm such a giver, I was just waiting for people to stop taking.
Yeah.
And, oh, they're not going to stop taking. It's too comfortable to keep taking. Oh, I need to stop giving. That was so hard for me to stop my role, Then when I began to honor myself more and I began to place myself in the center of my life, I did stop giving. I only began giving that was really giving to me as well. And I became dogmatic about it, and people thought I was selfish. But I was so in my worth that I knew I need to be okay with my giving first.
Yeah. There was a group member question that was posted this week that I thought you might have some really interesting insights on. And I'll keep it anonymous to protect their privacy. But this is a woman who shared, my teenage daughter recently saw me texting a man that's not her father. Sexting, not texting. I have been entirely devoted to my family for the past 15 years and remain committed to my roles. But my relationship with the man my daughter discovered is also something I cherish. If her father, meaning my husband, found out, his world would be shattered. And her world, meaning my daughter, has been forever changed. How do I parent through this? I'm completely torn between feeling alive and connected to my erotic self with this man, and my role as a parent and a wife.
Daughter?
What's that?
How old is the daughter?
15.
And she found out.
She saw her sexting.
Right.
And she said, her father doesn't know yet, but I imagine she'll share this either with him or her sister soon. My husband isn't interested in an open marriage. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and is she angry? Is the daughter angry with her?
Yeah.
Very, very typical.
Yeah.
The woman needs to just realize that the daughter can't bear these adult realities and she's not mature, and just say it was nothing. It was I mean, there's a part of me that always wants to say, speak your truth, tell your kid, have a heart to heart. But I will tell you, kids cannot handle it for the most part. They cannot handle their parents having sex with anyone. Alone their own parent, the other parent, leave alone somebody else.
Right.
Not happening till they have sex and they are in an intimate relationship. So instead of using more torture, for this moment, I would say, cap it around your kids, say it was nothing, deny it, water it, dilute it, wait for the storm to pass, and keep it private. Keep it private until you're ready to really face the storm. And I know I'm sounding like I'm saying keep it covert and lie, but you gotta manage. The young children can't know this, so they can't handle it. And I would say, do you? I am not going to judge. Do you? And if that gives you joy and that gives you pleasure, make sure you're not reacting. You're not just being, impulsive. Sit with it. Try not to cause too much harm. Keep it private and honor everybody and yourself. If this is going to light you up. And then lastly, I would say, what does it mean for you and your partner? What does that mean? Maybe go to a therapist to explore that. Maybe it means that your relationship with your partner is coming to an end. Maybe it just means you needed some enjoyment. Whatever it is, honor yourself, but keep it away from your kids because kids can't take it. They just can't.
Yeah. And I would say you and this woman are probably at similar moments in life in terms of age and same ages of kids. So I was
Maybe she's the tunnel of change. She should get my book.
Yeah, definitely. I'll recommend it. Okay. In A Radical Awakening, you talked about how you redefined what divorce would mean for you, because I think that there was a lot of heaviness just around the word divorce. And you said, where I landed was it was a divorce from my inauthenticity, from my false self, and from my ego, a divorce from fear and control. What advice would you give to someone who's maybe in a similar position, who's been contemplating divorce? They've been married for 25 years and just kind of like the stigma of divorce and the cultural pressures are keeping them together in their marriage?
Well, to really get help, there's so many women now who are helping others reframe divorce and really see that it's not a terrible thing, but it does need to be done with consciousness, with elegance, with non-reactivity when there are children involved. And you may have to give up on the technical wins and losses, give up that game of who wins, who gets the forks, who gets the spoons, and really go for the big picture of how can I be a model of empowerment and consciousness for my children, and how can I leave this in the most intact way possible.
Yeah. And it's so funny because actually one of my closing questions for you was, in the book, you talk about the legal process of divorce. And you said legal conflicts in divorce give us an illusion of power and control, two things we're desperately lacking during the close of a relationship. Whatever power we feel we've lost on an internal level, we try to grasp for in our outer world. And I'm wondering if you can share, I just thought you had such an empowered approach to dealing with like the legal side of divorce, and in particular your lawyer, and how you kind of messaged to him what was okay and what was not okay for you in the process.
I don't know how you've read this book so fast. How you read so fast?
Yeah, because I feel like whenever we do interviews, it's always like 24 hours and then we go. So I've been doing the audiobook and I'm about a quarter of the way in.
Wow. Okay. So so we get scared of the divorce process because this, sharks and these divorce lawyers are so intimidating. And I knew that I was going to be in charge of my divorce and every step of the way. So I told my lawyer, I said, listen, I'm hiring you and I can fire you. So if you don't listen to me, I'm out. Don't, oh, but what if you do something unsound? That I know exactly what I'm doing. You can give me your advice, I'll listen, but you have to follow my way. And I told him I would fire him like this. So he made me sign up, cover his ass letter
Yeah.
because I was giving everything away in my divorce. And he was like, what sort of agreement is this? This is the worst agreement in the history of the United States.
Yeah.
So he didn't want me to come back and sue him. But I was very clear that this is not going to be a battle over hundreds of thousands or forks and spoons and who gets the painting. And I just was not going to do that. And I just, you know, relinquished everything because it wasn't important to me. And my ex's happiness was important. My child's happiness was important. Things were not important. So basically, I transformed my entire relationship to the legal system. I knew that I was not going to give them my power. As it is, they had power to give me the approval. I'm like, wow, some judge out there has the power to tell me whether I can divorce or not. Like, how did this even happen to us? Right? Like, how did we do this? I didn't know this when I was getting married. I just thought I was going to have a party. I
Right.
didn't stodgy judge was going to decide my fate 25 years later. It just upset me so much that we don't realize this, that we're giving our power away. And I was like, I'm taking it back.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fight because fighting gives our power. I'm not going to allow my lawyer to fight. So the divorce was the cheapest divorce in many ways with the lawyer. And I just wanted all that legal work to be out of the way. And I controlled my destiny. I didn't let the patriarchy of the legal system take over my being. I put them in place and I told him, I'll leave you like this. I'll leave you in a second. And he was lovely to me, but I had to tame him all the time.
Did you use it as an opportunity to explain form and formlessness?
I did. And he's like, it's very, very amazing. He's like, but there's no one like you. He's like, you don't live in the real world. They're not, and nobody thinks like you. And I need to protect you. And I said, no one needs to protect me. I'm fine. So you just do your job as I tell you. Just make it basic, and we're going to move on. And he was like, "You're going to come back in a year and regret it." So a year later, I texted him, and I said, "Do you see now? Who is going to accept that they were wrong?" And he's like, "Okay, I was wrong." Yeah, it's just not buying into systems at all, and I don't buy into systems at all.
I love it. And your book really walks people through how they can too go through the process of deconstructing systems and culture.
Yes, so grab your copy. You can get it at Amazon or go to eradicalawakening.com. I start a new course on Sunday, and you get 3 books with it and another discount. So if you want to join my 10-day course, or grab a copy anywhere, A Radical Awakening.
Amazing. I want to close with 2 very quick but fun questions.
Okay.
So one of my favorite comedians is James Corden.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know him?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So he has a segment called Drop the Mic. And it's 2 people essentially like in a battle of words. And one of the things that I love most about you is the poetic way in which you write and speak and your alliterations. And I'm curious, if you were going to be in a drop the mic battle of words and wit, who would you want to be up against?
Oh my goodness. I guess Trevor Noah, the latest cutie.
Yeah, perfect. I could see that. And also, what's a song that encapsulates the spiritual moment in time for you?
I think Alicia Keys gave me a quote, and she's a friend. I think "Girl on Fire" would be appropriate.
Amazing. And that really captures the essence of a radical awakening as well.
It does. It does. So go to eradicalawakening.com. Grab a copy, guys. Go now. Go to Amazon. Go anywhere.
Amazing. And it's on audiobook too, and you can get through it in a snap on audiobook.
Yes, only 15 hours. So
it's true.
You're amazing. I love being with you. I never say no to you. because I adore what you do, and you're so involved, and you follow everything I write, and you pick up these quotes, and I just adore it. Really, I do. So thank you, and I'm so happy that I got this time with you.
Thanks, Dr. Shefali. Good
Bye,
luck with your book.
bye.
Bye.